So, you watch some NECA videos and you think you know all about the League of Legends lore. Well, let me tell you something. Everything you think you know is wrong. I have done extensive research on the subject and am currently working on a peer-reviewed essay entailing the finer details of the subject, but I thought, in the meantime, I should indulge this fine community of friendly, totally not vocally abusive chimpanzees about this newfound knowledge. So without further ado, here is the true League of Legends lore, which is totally not something I made up. It all starts in the year Undefined, with the first and most powerful god known as Gragas. In his almighty glory, he had 3 children. Fiddlesticks, who would become god of the underworld, Ivan, who would become god of war, and Singed, who would become the god of fertility. Together, these gods would shape the world of Runeterra. And in this video, we will only be covering the most profound and prominent events in Runeterra's history, so many details such as how Teemo was the son of Fiddlesticks will be excluded for another day. One day, Singed stumbled upon a beautiful muse, one that had been present as an intangible spirit before the creation of Runeterra, and was given form by Gragas. Singed approached the pulchritudinous figure and spoke upon them this: "Such eloquence and grace, none that ever have nor ever will can compare to thy bell. Tell me, God of beauty, will you allow me to indulge in your spectacular image with the intimacy of touch and soft whispers?" To which the muse replied,
"Come to Mundo!"
and thus childbirth was created. Fast forward many years from the invention of birth, and we come to the first great war of Runeterra. Gragas, god of gods, was in a state of slumber and would not be awoken for another millennia, and Singed and Mundo were happily settled in their own kingdom, which they established on the surface of the sun. But all was not well. You see, Ivan was worshipped by a people known as the Noxlantians, who would later become known as the Noxans, and they sacrificed sheep, books, and teachers to him. Unfortunately, this angered another god, the god of wisdom, Malphite. Malphite could no longer bear any longer to see such desecration of knowledge, and so he rallied the kingdom that worshipped him, known as Dementia, which would later become Demacia, and declared war upon Ivan. And thus, 100-year war of bloodshed, death, and destruction would encapsulate Runeterra in its entirety. Malphite's armies were relatively small compared to the vast influence of Ivan's reign, but his use of wit and intelligence allowed him to fight back for so long. Tactics such as guerrilla warfare and deception were used famously by Malphite, and he would later go on to write a classic memoir known as The Art of War. Unfortunately, Malphite's methods were ultimately no match for Ivan's brute strength and power, and after 100 years of fighting, Malphite's kingdom was on the verge of collapse. In a final siege against the capital, Ivan surrounded the city of Galan with thousands of troops and was prepared to finish off Malphite's forces. But then, an unexpected circumstance occurred. Right before the first soldier was slain, Fiddlesticks stepped in and said, "I'm here to end this war. If anyone is still looking for a fight, you can fight me." And everyone went silent, looked around, then dropped the weapons, to which Fiddlesticks declared, "This war is over." But unfortunately, Ivan was not content. His anger surged like an overflowing pot of boiling water. How could his victory, the one he had sought for so long and worked 100 years to attain, the one that was at his very fingertips, how could it be stricken from him? His eyes grew red, and his bloodlust merged with his very being. From that day forward, he became the god of war. Following the first great war of Runeterra, Amumu, a god of relationships, was wandering the kingdom, when a false god known as Aurelian Sol filed a complaint to Runeterra's godly secretary, Trundle, saying, "Who put this dude in charge of human relationships?" To which Trundle replied, "Fair enough." And Amumu was banished from the kingdom of heaven, cursed to never have friends. But Amumu was okay with this because he preferred to sit inside and play Overwatch all day, so it was cool. Anyway, that's all the time I have for this video. Leave a like if you enjoyed me BSing the League of Legends lore. And tune in next week when we discuss Master Yi, God of Balanced Gameplay.